This is Corporate Warrior, high-intensity training lifestyle and business with Lawrence Neal, helping you improve your health and physique, become a great personal trainer, and start and grow your hit business.
This episode is brought to you by ARX, the most innovative, efficient, and effective all-in-one exercise machines I have ever seen. I was really impressed with my ARX workout. The intensity and adaptive resistance was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love how the machine enables you to increase the negative load to fatigue target muscles more quickly, and I love how the workouts are effortlessly quantified. The software tracks maximum force output, rate of work, total amount of work done, and more in front of you on screen, allowing you to compete with your previous performance to give you and your clients real-time motivation. The ARX uses a computer-controlled motor to give you the exact amount of resistance your clients need 100% of the time. This means that the resistance can never become dangerous, is intuitive and simple to use, and can provide you with all of the results you and your clients are looking for in a fraction of the time. ARX is highly effective and efficient in delivering all of the benefits of exercise, including increased strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular conditioning, bone mineral density, and injury recovery. As well as being utilized by many high-intensity trainers to deliver highly effective and efficient workouts to their clients, ARX comes highly recommended by world-class trainers and brands, including Bulletproof, Tony Robbins, and Ben Greenfield Fitness. To find out more about ARX and get $500 off install when you place an order, please go to arxfit.com and mention Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field. So again, to get $500 off install when you order, head on over to arxfit.com and enter Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field. Lawrence Neal here. Welcome back to corporatewarrior.co. Today's guest is yours truly, and welcome to the first in a series called How to Start and Grow a High-Intensity Training Business. For those that don't know me and are tuning into the podcast for the first time, I am the founder of the High Intensity Training Lifestyle and Business podcast and blog, Corporate Warrior, and the founder of the HIT Business Membership, where I collaborate with the best in personal training and fitness business to help high-intensity strength training business owners and trainers build a successful and profitable business. So a lot of people have asked me, Lawrence, what's going on with your personal training business? How is it going? And I really do appreciate all of the interest, by the way. And so I've decided to start a mini series to update you on my personal training business and also use it as a way to document that and help you in your own journey as well. So there's a number of reasons I decided to start this business. I've wanted to do it for a very, very long time. I've always had the dream of having my own personal training facility, which has my own machines and my own equipment and stuff like that, either in-house or in a local facility. And obviously, it'd be a bit strange to just train myself. You know, I'd probably want to train friends and family and also clients as well. And recently, probably about just over a year ago now, I was approached by someone in Galway, one of the leading oncologists here, and we were connected via a mutual friend in Dr. Doug McGuff, which is one of the crazy things about having a podcast and a blog that's growing in popularity is these opportunities really come out of left field that you never really planned for. And we met and hit it off straight away. He's very inspired by high-intensity training and by some of the discoveries he's made in diet in terms of, you know, the ketogenic and diets that have become more popular now and things like intermittent fasting, and has, you know, spent a lot of his career kind of in the pain management side of things. You know, once people have already got sick, it's okay, how do we try and extend their lifespan? How do we try and contain this? But more lately, he's become far more interested in how do I prevent this in the first place and how do I play a role in that? So he's very prolific and has a very successful career in oncology, and is now looking to put more resource into the prevention side of things. So we are likely to open a studio of some kind with a strength training element and maybe some kind of coaching around nutrition and using methods to track data and all sorts of things. We've got some plans to do that in the next kind of 6 to 12 months. It's hard to say exactly when because we're both very busy with various projects. You know, I've got the HIT Business Membership, which I'm super passionate about, which is helping obviously high intensity training business owners grow their business. And then I've also got the podcast and a blog, and Frank probably makes me look relatively lazy because he's writing books and traveling around the world doing conferences and all sorts of things. So it's a little bit slow to actually come to fruition. And so with that, I decided to start a very lean, very basic personal training operation, which I may then try and transition clients to a studio in the future. But I thought this would be quite cool because I figured, there's a lot of you listening who are interested in starting and perhaps have very little capital and may need to start by using a local facility, maybe a non-high intensity training facility, which doesn't have our beloved, MedX or ARX or Nautilus machines, and you may have to use, more commercial equipment with poor strength curves and such. Or you may be operating out of home, or you may be operating out of a client's home. So I wanted to try and take one of those sort of circumstances and show you how to start from scratch and kind of document my own process. So it's quite exciting for me, and hopefully you're excited as well. And so and the other thing as well is I've always been the curator. As many of you know, I've always done a podcast, had experts on the show, and always been the conduit for you, for the listener in terms of learning. And I love that. I love learning from experts. I love hearing alternative perspectives. And I always try and obviously maintain the role of the student. But I guess having done the podcast for a number of years, having done over 190 episodes, spoken to some of the world's top experts in lots of aspects of health and fitness and also fitness business, and having done high intensity strength training for probably over 7 to 8 years as well, and then working with, I guess, family and friends in terms of training them, and then also just reading everything I can on the subject of high intensity training and business, and then also more recently working with all the members in the membership to help them with their business and collaborative experts to help them as well. I feel like I'm in a better place where I can teach and not always have to rely and leverage and collaborate with other experts. And so, yes, I'm looking to become the expert. I wouldn't go as far as to say I am the expert now, because I feel like there's an element of arrogance in saying that, and it's a bit of a loaded word. But I suppose we are all experts to those that have less knowledge than us in any specific domain, or to beginners. But I am looking to, I guess, work on that side of me so that I can walk the walk and then give you a ton more value via the podcast and the membership, and actually document this journey, this building of a personal training business, which would really hopefully help you with yours. So where am I currently? Where am I up to with this business? So the first thing I did is I kind of sat down and thought, okay, how is this going to look in the context of the rest of my life and my business? I already have the Corporate Warrior podcast and the membership, which are two, I guess, connected and separate business units with revenue streams. And I need to understand, how much time can I actually allocate to this? How important is it in relation to the rest of my goals and in helping those other areas of the business? And it kind of goes without saying, and I've already kind of touched on this, is that if I'm able to build this business and then document that in the podcast and share my learnings in the podcast and in the membership, then it's obviously going to be a very symbiotic relationship there. And so I decided for me, based on my goals, that doing 5 sessions a week is a good goal for me. So that would only be 5 clients training once a week. So 5 sessions a week. And I thought about, okay, what would be an appropriate price point? What would I want to generate in terms of income from this additional business? And I kind of worked out at this point that $60 a session is probably ideal. I live in Galway, where there's a fair few affluent areas with high income potential target markets within. And my avatar is kind of to be confirmed at the moment. I don't know exactly who I'm going to target, but it's likely to be older individuals. But obviously I need to probably elaborate on the demographic and psychographics for that person. But I already have had some feedback from people, and I'm confident that a premium price point like $60 per session, maybe at half an hour sessions, is doable and will work successfully. And so I've also, the other way I've arrived at that figure is I've looked at the personal training businesses in the Galway area already. I've constructed a Google sheet, and I've listed out all the local gyms, their services, what makes them unique, so the USP, and I've wrote down how much they charge for personal training sessions. And I think the average was around probably $40, $50. So I am going slightly above that, but I do believe that we're providing a premium service. So I've actually created a Google Sheet to do that. And then also on that same sheet, or in another tab, I've opened up a sheet with and listed out all the local gyms and what they require in terms of an external personal trainer to operate out of them. So, what does the facility provide? Like what, from my perspective, what am I going to have access to in terms of equipment, machines, things like that, opening hours, stuff like that. Criteria, what do they need if I'm going to become a personal trainer for them or as a freelancer? What is the criteria? What do I need in terms of insurance, certifications, other accreditations or qualifications, or fill in the blank? And then how much is it going to cost? What is it going to cost per session or per month to train people out of that facility? And in doing this exercise, I came across a gym here in Galway who charge a fixed rate. And it's a very competitive fixed rate. So no matter how many clients I train, that rate stays the same, which is pretty excellent from my point of view, because it just means that it's far more profitable to train clients out of there. And it just made me realize just how much opportunity there is in high intensity strength training, because, and Luke's talked about this before in a podcast, is that even if you price match your competition, which I don't necessarily advocate, but even if you did, and you were doing 30-minute sessions and they were doing an hour session, then you'd be making twice as much as they are for equal time spent. And obviously it then comes down to your ability to then communicate that and justify that to clients in terms of that they're going to be saving time, but ultimately getting better results and in a safer and more efficient manner. And I will do a separate episode to talk about exactly how to justify and articulate this type of message so that you can overcome those objections, because I know it comes up quite a lot. So I did do a little bit of that preliminary research. I did set up a Google Sheet and list that stuff out. It didn't take long, and pick up the phone, talk to these different businesses, fill out your sheet, and then that gives you a good reference to figure out exactly where you're going to operate from and your cost base, which you can then figure out, okay, if that's my cost base, how much do I need to charge in order to make what I need in terms of income? And to go back to that, my goal was 5 sessions a week at $60 a session. So call that $300 a week. So $1,200 per month, give or take, which is for me, a good supplementary income that would make this worthwhile. So really important to define your goals and to first determine exactly what you require in terms of income to, I guess, cover your living costs if this is going to be your sole occupation, and achieve your goals. Because once you've then defined them, you can then figure out what's the fastest path to X and focus on those high return activities that will get you there. So really, I can't move forward without being certified, not if I want to operate legally anyway. And so I'm back on the HIT Uni course, the certification. Now, a number of you will probably find this quite funny, but I bought this certification years ago. Simon convinced me to buy after we went for a coffee in Starbucks because he thought that it would be really helpful for my own training knowledge, which it was actually, in terms of just understanding more about HIT for myself. Now, what happened is I get so distracted and focused on other projects. I get shiny object syndrome just as much as probably the rest of you do, or many of us do. And so what would often happen is the HIT Uni cert would just fall up and down my kind of priority stack, I suppose. Sometimes that was the right thing because, for instance, I was probably halfway through the certification in March last year, so March 2018, when I actually came up with the idea for the HIT Business Membership. And I'm really glad that I shifted focus because that's been a great success. And I'm having a lot of fun helping people build their high-intensity training businesses and upskill as personal trainers in the membership. However, it does mean that when I return to HIIT Uni, I kind of have to start from scratch because I don't like picking something up halfway through when I've probably forgotten a lot of the information. And so I've started again, but I'm now happy to say I'm about 75% of the way through the course, and I love it. I think Simon and his team have done a great job with HIIT Uni. I do actually think they're the best online courses in high intensity training. I wouldn't be promoting it and be an affiliate if I didn't think that. And I guess take this as a pinch of salt because I am biased and I do obviously earn a small commission when you buy a HIIT Uni course. But if you're interested in learning more about HIIT Uni, I will just elaborate quickly. So HIIT Uni is an online modular-based personal training course. So you buy your course and then you can actually go through the course via the website, which is a really lovely user experience. It's a really enjoyable way to learn about high intensity training. Everything's broken down into kind of bite-sized chunks. So as you complete each section, you tick it and complete it and it moves you on to the next one. And there's like a mini quiz at the end of every section. And it's just it's a very satisfying learning experience. And what I've noticed, having kind of dropped in and out of the course over the years, every time I go back in, Simon and his team have done so much work to continuously improve the service. Like you go in and the dashboard's better, there's better videos, there's newer information, there's new research. It's just fantastic. And I'm just really pleased that they spend a lot of time really trying to make it a great product. And there's a bit that I really stood out for me lately, which was called Expert Views, where Simon has basically uploaded some video interviews he did with Dr. Doug McGuff and Dr. James Steele and Dr. James Fisher that I haven't seen anywhere else. And I believe they're only available in the course. And they were just phenomenal, as good, if not better, than many of the podcast interviews I've done with the same individuals. So I really enjoyed that. So kudos to you, Simon, and your team. I think you're doing great work. I think this is really valuable work. I love, that a few of us are really trying hard to provide a lot of value to the high intensity training industry as a whole. And it's a very exciting time to be part of that. I'm doing the personal trainer course, but having reviewed the courses lately, I would recommend that you're probably better off choosing the master personal trainer course because that actually includes modules on business and marketing. And if you haven't got a business and marketing background, then I really think that's hugely valuable. And if you use the discount code CW10, you'll get 10% off. So give it a go. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, ARX. Are you looking to create a cutting-edge, high-intensity training facility? Are you confused on what equipment to use or how to separate yourself from the masses? Well, then ARX Fit might be the answer you're looking for. I asked Mike Polano from ARX a few questions about how ARX machines are challenging the status quo of the exercise industry around the globe. Mike, if you could, give the listeners a quick summary of why ARX is so different from the traditional machines or tools they're used to seeing in most exercise facilities.
ARX is totally different than anything you've seen before. This isn't just another weight stack machine. We've looked at the last 40 years of exercise technology and used that knowledge to create something entirely new. ARX uses a new form of resistance, a motor, and we pair that motor with computer software so that we can maximize the safety, effectiveness, and efficiency of your workouts. So you may be asking, okay, but how does ARX compare to weights? Traditional machines you see in gyms today are based on lifting metal weights and battling gravity. What people don't realize is that when you're forced to lift a static weight like this, one that doesn't adapt or change while you use it, you're underloading yourself rep after rep. And this unnecessarily limits your ability to make improvements. With ARX, we've taken a totally different approach. We removed weights and gravity from the equation altogether. Instead, ARX combines our patented motorized resistance with our custom computer software to provide you with the world's safest, most effective, and most quantified form of resistance training ever. When you train with ARX, you are training to your perfect level of resistance, both positively and negatively 100% of the time. No more guessing what weight to use. ARX does all of that for you, instantly and automatically. We'll also track and measure every second of every rep, so you can quantify all of your workouts to find out if you're improving and by exactly how much. Whether your goals are bigger muscles, increased strength, stronger bones, or just to look good in a bathing suit, ARX can help you achieve all of these and more, but do so in a fraction of the time it would take compared to traditional equipment. If you're looking for the most efficient, most effective, and most quantified piece of exercise equipment on the market today, then look no further than ARX.
Thanks, Mike. That all sounds really impressive. If you'd like to learn more about ARX, visit arxfit.com and mention that you heard about ARX on the Corporate Warrior podcast to receive an exclusive deal of $500 off shipping and installation off your ARX machines. Moving on. So a couple of tools I just want to mention quickly are a few things which I'm certainly going to use, which you might also find useful. There's a tool called Thrivecart, which I use to take payments for my membership and have also used it for when I used to do online health coaching as well. It costs a few $100s a year, I believe, but it's a really good way to transact a recurring subscription with clients. Now, I'm going to try and avoid doing session-based personal training. I already have, I guess, one particular individual who's probably going to be my first personal training client who is quite happy to pay on a monthly, recurring monthly basis, so to pay a subscription, like a membership. And I actually think that's better for both parties. I mean, I'm not the first to say this. If for us, for the personal trainer, it's better from a cash flow point of view, and financial security, and also labor. You don't have to constantly resell the personal training sessions. And secondly, it's probably also better for the customer, so long as you give them flexibility to cancel. If they want to cancel, they can anytime. If they got an annual subscription, and they'll be able to cancel before it renews, and the same for the monthly, just on a month-by-month basis. And if you also think about it from the client's perspective, they are actually better off in investing in a recurring subscription, because then they're more likely to be disciplined and actually train, because the money is going to be coming out every month, and they're more likely to then actually go to their sessions. And that element of accountability can work quite well. And it's also more efficient for them. They don't want to have to always be buying new sessions. They want to just make that commitment and then come for the training. And as I said, it's still obviously important to make it very clear and easy for them to cancel, especially at the beginning before you've kind of, I guess, proven your worth. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be using Thrivecart for that. And if you want to, you'll be able to go to the show notes for this to get a link to that. And then I'm also going to be using Schedule Once, which is software I use for scheduling podcasts, funnily enough. And this is a really cool piece of software. It basically enables you to pre-populate a calendar with your availability, and then you can send a link from that to your client, and they can click that and book with you based on the availability you've preset, which is great if you want to avoid the back and forth on email trying to agree a time. It's a very low labor way to schedule anything, really. I mean, I use it to schedule podcasts and phone calls and meetings, but I can see how it can also be very valuable from a personal training point of view. And that costs around $100 a year for that service, so it's pretty affordable. And there are services that combine both of these things and much, much more. And there's one called MindBody, which is very well known in personal training. It's probably the leader in high intensity training business. And there's one called GlowFox as well, who are kind of, I believe, more up and coming and provide a similar service, but perhaps maybe more tailored to smaller businesses. And the only reason I'm probably not going to go for those in the beginning is because, I don't know much about GlowFox, but MindBody is a fair amount more in terms of a monthly commitment. And I don't think I think it's a great service. But I think when you're first starting out, it really depends on your financial situation and your outgoings. And I guess it's each to their own to decide, whether that's the best fit for them. But I'll probably not use that in the very beginning. And just finally, some tips to, I guess, help you at the beginning in terms of getting skilled up to become a good personal trainer. I train my girlfriend every week. I train friends occasionally, and I treat every session as if I'm a paid professional. So sometimes I fall out of character and I'll I'll say something that's quite unprofessional, and Ash will kind of remind me, like, you can't say that if you're training someone, like you can't do that. And actually, I appreciate it when she says that, because it's good practice for me to act professionally and, be a good personal trainer. So I try and use every one of these opportunities to practice being a personal trainer, practice the things I'm learning through HIT Uni, be a good listener, try and be the right best coach for them. So I encourage you, if you're currently doing HIT Uni or you're doing a personal training certification and you're not, certified to train new clients, try training friends, family, partners, and try and practice. Secondly, a lot of us who've been doing high intensity training for a long period of time, If you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, you'll know that there is no magic routine. There are no magic bullets. We might want to change routines over time to provide greater recovery, or maybe provide additional stimulus to certain areas or neglected areas, or maybe we're just doing it for additional novelty. Well, here's another reason to change your program. Try things that broaden your skill set so that you can better understand how to provide a tailored training program to your client. Use machines, use body weight, use free weights, use isometrics, use negative only, use these different advanced techniques, different protocols, different exercises, so that you build up your own repertoire, because you're going to be working with, or you might be working with, different populations who have different shortcomings and maybe have injuries and are unable to do certain movements, or maybe you won't have access perhaps to all of the medics machines that make this stuff a lot easier. And so by having a broad skill set, you'll be able to then tailor the training to the client, and you'll be able to empathize with them. You'll see them do a bent over row or a calf raise or dumbbell, and you'll be able to actually understand how that feels because you've done it, and you understand where it's difficult, and then that enable you to be a better coach and a better trainer. Because I think and I've been guilty of this. I've been gone through phases where I've stuck with the same program, which is exclusively on machines for months and months, and I kind of forgotten, or in some cases didn't even learn to do a lot of basic exercises with, barbells and free weights, or body weight. And then more recently, since I've been living in Ireland, I've got a lot better with body weight, which is a nice skill to have because, body weight training can be done anywhere. So I think that's a really, really powerful skill. But anyway, I'm digressing. I think you get the point. Use that to use learning new techniques, using different types of equipment and machines, and changing your routines accordingly in order to actually deliver more value to your client. So it's almost a systems thinking approach to changing your workout routine. It might benefit you, maybe, but it may just be additional novelty. But knowing that you're adding to your skill set is a really, really good return on that. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. So just a quick summary: define your goals. Work out what your target income is. Tim Ferriss invented something called dreamlining, which is a really, really good way of figuring out how much income you need to generate through your business. And it's quite an effective way to do this because he gives you a framework to figure out, how do you get to that figure? And, basically he gets you to work out what your goals are, what it is you want to have, be, do, and want over the next 6 to 12 months. And then you basically put a value on that. And then that gives you your target monthly income. And then you add to that your monthly expenses plus 30% for a buffer. And it's a nice little formula, a nice little way to figure out, roughly what you require on a monthly basis. And then you can obviously use that to then backward engineer the number of sessions and price per session for your business. And then it's a case of, okay, once you get to that price point that you feel comfortable with, it's then figuring out how do you provide enough value to justify that price, which, in high intensity training shouldn't be that hard. Don't overwhelm yourself. Look at this one step at a time. Don't stress about client acquisition till you're actually certified. So in my case, the only thing I'm really focused on is getting HIT Uni done, batching 2 to 4 hours of time as often as I can to just sit there and just get through the Hit Uni course. I mean, I say get through, I am actually really enjoying the process, but I'm always a little bit impatient to get this stuff done. But that's probably the best way to spend your time in the beginning, is just to try and get obviously certified, because you can't really go very far without that. For me, I'll probably be looking to obviously build up a small client base and then ultimately transition them to a studio. It might be that they aren't right for the studio. Maybe they don't want to join the studio. Maybe it's too far away from their home, or fill in the blank. So I'll probably deal with that challenge when I come to it. Really, really excited to be doing this. As I said, I think it's enormously symbiotic in terms of everything else that I already do with the membership and the podcast. I think this is going to help you. I think it's going to help the members. It's really going to help inform my own content creation, because as I go through my own journey building my personal training business, I will obviously come up against my own challenges, and then I'm going to seek out experts to help me as well. So I think this is going to be really, really fun and a really great learning experience. So this is part one. This is going to be a series. I'm probably going to do it on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. It really depends on how much progress I've made. So obviously I don't want to do another episode unless I've got something to bring to the table. But I am serious about this. I am going to work through the Hit Uni course, and start acquiring customers and start training people as quickly as I can. And I'm excited to share that with you. And obviously, as always, please let me know your feedback and any advice you have. I've got the advantage of having spoken to all these wonderful experts on the podcast and in the membership and all of that. But yeah, always keen to learn. And to find the blog post for this episode, please go to corporatewarrior.co/PTBiz1. That's PTBIZ1. And for all episodes, please go to corporatewarrior.co/podcast. And until next time, thank you very much for listening.
Discover how to improve health, become a great personal trainer, and build a successful high-intensity strength training business. Check out corporatewarrior.co. corporatewarrior.co.
This episode is brought to you by ARX, the most innovative, efficient, and effective all-in-one exercise machines I have ever seen. I was really impressed with my ARX workout. The intensity and adaptive resistance was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love how the machine enables you to increase the negative load to fatigue target muscles more quickly, and I love how the workouts are effortlessly quantified. The software tracks maximum force output, rate of work, total amount of work done, and more in front of you on screen, allowing you to compete with your previous performance to give you and your clients real-time motivation. The ARX uses a computer-controlled motor to give you the exact amount of resistance your clients need 100% of the time. This means that the resistance can never become dangerous, is intuitive and simple to use, and can provide you with all of the results you and your clients are looking for in a fraction of the time. ARX is highly effective and efficient in delivering all of the benefits of exercise, including increased strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular conditioning, bone mineral density, and injury recovery. As well as being utilized by many high-intensity trainers to deliver highly effective and efficient workouts to their clients, ARX comes highly recommended by world-class trainers and brands, including Bulletproof, Tony Robbins, and Ben Greenfield Fitness. To find out more about ARX and get $500 off install when you place an order, please go to arxfit.com and mention Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field. So again, to get $500 off install when you order, head on over to arxfit.com and enter Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field.